Hi friends, welcome to our CS executive class. Today I am going to start with a new chapter which is Negotiable Instruments Act. Okay, this act reads as Negotiable Instruments Act. Okay, 1881, very old act. Okay, now this is again your EBCL subject, part C. You have your business laws. Okay, so one of the act in business law is Negotiable Instruments Act. Now this chapter, it is a very vast chapter. Even if in case you have gone through your module or seen in the ICSI module, it is a very vast chapter. Okay, but if we study it correctly, okay, strategically, okay, if we break up this chapter and then we go about and study and read the chapter, it will become very simple. Okay, so I will take you all through the subtopics, what are we going to cover, and I will also take you all to the importance of the notes. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, okay, at the end of the lecture, we will discuss the notes and we will discuss the importance. Okay, because this chapter does not have a weightage of more than 10 marks. Okay, it is very important for you all to know that what are you supposed to concentrate in this chapter. All right, so let's begin. Okay, as you all know, first thing to understand that what is a negotiable instrument. Okay, a negotiable instrument, in simple words, negotiable means freely transferable. Okay, freely transferable, which is known as negotiable. Any instrument which is freely transferable from one person to another, then it is known as a negotiable instrument. The best example is our currency notes. Freely transferable. Okay, it has a value attached to it, right? So currency notes is the best example of a negotiable instrument. Here in this act, okay, we are going to study three types of negotiable instrument. Actually, the negotiable instrument to which this act applies, because currency notes is one type of a promissory note also. Okay, so we are going to study only three types of instruments under this act. First is a promissory note, second is a bill of exchange, and third is a check. Okay, these are the three negotiable instruments which we have under this act. Okay, so to begin with, how are we going to go about with this chapter? Firstly, okay, we will be doing the definition of negotiable instruments. Okay, in today's lecture, I'll be covering all this. Definition of negotiable instrument. Second, the characteristics of a negotiable instrument. Thirdly, just now what I spoke is the kinds of negotiable instrument. Now in kinds, we all know, as I just said, we have a promissory note, which is also known as a pro note or a PN. We have a bill of exchange, and we are going to study about the check. Okay, so when I come to the kinds of negotiable instrument, which is the promissory note, bill of exchange and check, for all these three types of negotiable instrument, we are going to do its definition, we are going to do its essentials. Okay, I will also take you all to one of the format of a bill of exchange and promissory note, the parties which are involved, in this negotiable instruments, and if in case in that also we have types, like we have types of bills of exchange also. We have types, we will be doing that as well. Okay, so for today's lecture, just concentrate. This is your part 1. We can state it as part 1 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. So whatever I am going to take you all through this today's lecture, I will also give you all the markings in the notes. Okay, So you are supposed to finish this part of Negotiable Instruments Act and keep it ready with you. Okay. Now coming with to the definition. Alright. Definition of negotiable instrument. What is the definition of negotiable instrument? A negotiable instrument has to fulfill the following three conditions. Okay, we have three conditions. If these three conditions are fulfilled, then that instrument becomes a negotiable instrument. The first important condition, it has to be freely transferable. Alright. Secondly, the person who takes it, for a value and in good faith. And lastly, the person can sue in his own name. If you all want, even you all can write along with me. Okay. So for the definition of negotiable instruments, these three conditions have to be fulfilled. Freely transferable, taken in good faith for a value, and can sue in his own name. Okay. Now coming to the characteristics. Okay, characteristics of a negotiable instrument. Okay. Coming to the characteristics, you all will understand this chapter, more and more deeply as and when I will keep on moving forward. Okay. So right now we have to just keep one thing in mind, that negotiable instrument is nothing like keep your currency note in mind. It is freely transferable. It has a value, taken in good faith, can sue in his own name. Correct. Okay. Now coming to the characteristic of a negotiable instrument. Firstly, the person who holds it, okay, the holder of the negotiable instrument is the owner. So if I am having a 2000 rupees note with me, I am the owner. Is the owner. Second, again, repeating the definition. It is freely transferable. I can transfer that 2000 rupees to someone else. Okay. The holder in due course. Holder in due course. Okay, now this word has a in-depth meaning. What is a holder in due course? I'll come to it. Holder in due course gets the negotiable instrument free from any defect in title. Okay. In simple words, I'll explain you what is a holder in due course. Okay, say suppose there is this Mr. A. Okay. He found 100 rupees note. Okay. He found a 100 rupees note somewhere in a drawer. Okay, he is working in some place, and in the drawer he found this 100 rupees note. He stole it. Okay, so basically he stole this. Now with this 100 rupees note, he then went to McDonald's, okay, and got a burger. So he paid this money, rupees 100, transferred, freely transferable. Okay. Here, okay, McDonald is like kind of an example, which is a holder in due course. Now he got this negotiable instrument free from the title. This person does not have a title only to this rupees 100. He's stolen it. It does not belong to him. But since he got it, he became the holder. He had a defect in the title. It's not his. But when he transferred it, this person became the holder in due course. He will get this negotiable instrument free from any defect in the title, because he will not know that this person is stealing and coming. Okay. When I will put this same thing, okay, this same concept with promissory note and the same concept with bill of exchange or with bill of check or with a check, your concept will get more clear. Okay. Defect in the title means what? That I did not have a title only to that particular thing and I transferred that. So there is a defect in my title. Obviously, if I have a defect, the person to whom I am transferring will also have a defect in his title. But in Negotiable Instrument Act, there is a special provision which says that a holder in due course, if he gets any negotiable instrument, say suppose ye check hota, not rupees 100, but it was a check, or it was a promissory note, or it was a bill of exchange, anything, okay, if he gets this negotiable instrument, he will get it free from any defect in the title of the previous holder. Okay? Then lastly, the holder in due course can sue in his own name. Okay, the holder in due course can sue in his own name. So these are the characteristics of a negotiable instrument. Now I am moving to the kinds of negotiable instruments. Okay, the very first one are promissory note. Okay, promissory note, which is also known as pro note, PN. Okay, I will first show you a sample of the promissory note. Okay, here it is. You can I hope you all can see. Okay, promissory note. Now, what is a promissory note? First important thing, okay, promissory note, नाम में ही लिखा है, correct? So it is basically a promise. That promise is written on a note. A note is made of the promise, okay, which is duly stamped, properly stamped. Okay, according to the amount of the promissory note, the stamp has to be of that value also. Okay, now this promissory note contains a promise, okay, promise to pay a sum of money, okay, to a given person or his order. Okay, so if you can see here, it has a date here. Okay, on demand, see how it reads. On demand, we promise to pay the Imperial Bank, so and so, the location, or his order, the Imperial Bank or whoever Imperial Bank orders us to pay, for a value received a sum of rupees 20,000 only, along with an interest in the rate of 6.5% per annum, and it is signed. Okay, so basically a promissory note is nothing but, say there is Mr. A, okay, who is a borrower of money, and there is Mr. B. Mr. B is the bank. So bank is going to lend money to the borrower, lend money. Okay, while lending the money, Mr. A will issue a promissory note to the bank stating that he will pay the said amount along with the interest on so and so date. Okay, so here a promissory note is nothing but it will have a date. Say I will just make one sample. A date, it will have a stamp here. Okay, then I can say I promise to pay Mr. X, okay, or his order a sum of rupees 10,000 only. Okay, sign Mr. Y. Okay, so this is a promissory note. Now here Mr. Y, okay, he is the maker. He has made the promissory note. He is the maker of the promissory note, and here Mr. X, he is the payee. Okay, also now he has become the holder of this negotiable instrument or of this promissory note. because Mr. Y ने बना के Mr. X को दे दिया. Payee means the person to whom we have to pay. So he's become the payee. Okay. Also he is the holder of the promissory note. Correct. Now say suppose when Mr. Y, okay, went ahead, okay, to pay Mr. X. So Mr. X said that do not pay me. Go ahead and pay Mr. Z because I also owe money to him. Okay. So here Mr. Z say is a creditor of Mr. X. So Mr. X is telling Y that do not pay this money to me. Go and pay directly to Z. So Mr. X or his order, no? So Z is his order. Okay, he is giving order to Y that pay it to Mr. Z. So here what happens is, here if it is endorsed to Z, then Z will become the payee. Okay, and Mr. X will become the endorser and Mr. Z will become the endorsee. Alright. So in case of a promissory note, what we need to understand is, okay, that in a promissory note, firstly there are two parties. Okay, there is a maker of the promissory note and the payee. Okay, as per our example, the maker was Mr. Y and the payee was Mr. X. Okay. Secondly, let's say suppose this promissory note gets endorsed. Endorsed means I am putting it in the favor of Mr. Z. I means Mr. X is asking Y that you pay directly to Mr. Z. So see, if it was endorsed to Mr. Z, here Mr. Z will become the endorsee and while Mr. X will become the endorser. Along with becoming endorsee, he will now become the payee because after all Mr. Y has to now pay to Z. So far clear? So promissory note, understand the parties first involved in the promissory note. Okay. We will move ahead with the essentials of a promissory note. Okay, essentials of a promissory note. Okay. Sure. First one, most important thing. A promissory note has to be in writing only. And I say oral promise is not a negotiable instrument. Okay, it has to be in writing only. Secondly, it needs to contain an express promise. Okay, express promise to pay. Okay. Thirdly, that promise has to be unconditional promise. Unconditional. There should not be any condition attached that okay, there is a condition saying that only if I will receive money then I will pay. You cannot attach any condition. Okay. Unconditional promise. Okay, which is importantly signed by the maker. By the maker. In our example, who was the maker? Mr. Y. He had made the promissory note. Okay. And this maker is a certain person. Is a certain person. Okay. Or a company. But a person. Certain person. Artificial person or a person. Okay. 6. Maker is a certain person as well as payee is a certain person. Correct? It has to be for a certain fixed value, certain sum of money. Which money? The legal money of the country. Legal money of the country. Apna Indian rupees hai, right? Next, it has to be duly stamped. Okay, properly stamped, and it has to contain name, place and date. Okay, So this entire thing, okay, it is given under section, what is a promissory note? It is defined under the section 4 of the act. Okay, promissory note, everything. Definition of negotiable instrument is there in the entire promissory note. Okay, it has one section which is known as section 4 of the act. Section 4 of the act talks about the promissory note. Okay, so essentials of the promissory note, what importantly you need to see is the format. Even if you see my format, it is enough. There is a date, there is a stamp, there is a promise to pay Mr. X or his order a sum of rupees 10,000 only. Mr. X is the payee, Mr. Y is the maker. If it is endorsed to Z, then the Z becomes the payee. Okay, here Mr. X is also known as the holder of this negotiable instrument. Okay, now along with that, we did the entire essentials. We completed the essentials of the promissory note. Okay, with the help of the format only, you can put the format and write all the essentials around it. Okay, so all the essentials are covered. You understood what is a promissory note. And the last most important one thing is, there is one provision. A promissory note cannot be made payable, or also it cannot be issued to a bearer. Okay, it cannot be issued to a bearer irrespective if it is payable on demand or on certain date. Okay, now what does this provision talk about? Okay, let's understand. A promissory note. Okay, now we all know what is a promissory note. They are saying it cannot be made payable. Okay, it cannot be made payable to a bearer. Also, it cannot be issued to a bearer. Okay, it cannot even be issued to a bearer, and it cannot even be made payable to a bearer, because a bearer promissory note, we have only one bearer promissory note, which is our currency. Okay, currency is the only promissory note which is issued to a bearer, payable to a bearer. Whoever has it, bearer means whoever has it is the owner. So if I am having a 2000 rupees note, I am the bearer of that 2000 rupees note. I am the owner. Okay, so only that currency note can be a bearer promissory note. Apart from that, any kind of promissory note which we are making, it cannot be made payable also to a bearer. It cannot be issued also to a bearer. Okay? Irrespective whether that promissory note is payable on a demand. On demand means as and when you show that promissory note. Say Mr. X just comes one day, okay, and he just presents the promissory note to Y. Mr. Y will have to pay. That means this is on demand. As and when X demands, he has to pay it. Or if a date is mentioned, that I will pay after 6 months, or I will pay on 1st of March, then it is known as a certain date payment. Okay, so you can make any type of a promissory note. You can make a promissory note which is payable on demand. You can make a promissory note which is payable on a certain date. Whichever promissory note you make, but it cannot be made payable and issued to a bearer. Okay, that two things are important. Okay, payable or issued to a bearer. Now, so, okay. Alright. Now coming to on a certain date. Yes. So this was all about a promissory note. Alright. So with this we complete the entire thing of promissory note. We will also come with some small concepts of promissory note here and there. Okay. So promissory note nothing but it is a promise to pay a certain sum of money. So generally this promissory notes, they are made when, people borrow, from the family members or something like that. Okay. Because now if a bank is giving loan, you have the entire documentation done. Okay. So generally promissory note doesn't happen with a bank. It is, your internally, if you're borrowing money from any of your relative or something, or somebody has come to you and they want some money, so you ask them, okay, theek hai, you issue me a promissory note and write on it, that's when you will pay it to me. Okay. So but that promissory note is the payee is also a certain person, maker is also a certain person, there is certain sum of money. You have to write whether this is on a demand or it is payable on a certain date. So all the essentials of the promissory note are covered with all these provisions. Okay. Now let's go to the next. What is a bill of exchange? Okay. Now first I'll just take you all through this format, one bill of exchange. Now when is a bill of exchange issued? First we have to understand that. So bill of exchange is section 5. Promissory note was section 4. Okay. Now when is a bill of exchange issued? Okay, say there is a seller of goods, Mr. S. Okay, he sells goods, seller. And there is Mr. B. He is the buyer. Okay, now this seller sells goods on credit. Good, na? He is selling goods on credit. So Mr. B, he does not have to pay any money right now. He gets goods on credit. Gets goods on credit. So what happens here is Mr. S, seller, he makes a bill. Okay, in that bill he writes an order. It's an order to pay. He gives order to Mr. B that I have supplied you these goods and you are supposed to make a payment for these goods. Either it can be on demand or it can be payable on certain date. Mr. B will say, okay, fine, no problem. I will sign this and I'll give it to you. And one bill copy Mr. S will keep. Okay, one copy Mr. B will keep. And the transaction gets completed. So Mr. S, he also is rest assured that yes, B has signed this. So tomorrow if I will go and I'll show him the bill, he will make a payment. Okay, and B is also happy that okay, fine, I got goods on credit. I do not have to make the payment right away. Okay, so this is a bill of exchange. It contains the address. It has the date. Okay, stamp. And it consists an order. Unlike promissory note, which is a promise to pay, here see it will be an order to pay. 2 months after date, means after which date? This date. 2 months after date, pay to Mr. Viraj, who is staying on so and so address, or his order, the sum of rupees 7,500 only for the value received. Okay, Mr. Vikas Pawar, he has signed, accepted. Okay, and here Mr. Vilas Patil. So basically Mr. Vikas Pawar here has become the buyer. Okay, okay, he has also accepted this bill. Okay, here say Mr. Vilas Patil, he is the seller. Okay, but if you see here, the order to pay, he has made a bill of exchange in name of Mr. Viraj. He is the payee. It is not in the name of Vilas. Okay, seller is Vilas, but see, he has put someone else's name. This means what? That Mr. Viraj must be the creditor. Okay, Mr. Viraj, he might be the creditor of this Vilas. So this Vilas is saying, Baba, you will make a payment to me and then I will make a payment to Viraj Might as well you do one thing, directly make a payment to Viraj. So here the name of the payee is written. Okay, it is more in a form of it's like an order to pay. He is ordering Mr. Vikas to pay. Mr. Vikas has signed it also. He has accepted the bill also. Alright, so this is a bill of exchange. Now I'll give you one more small format of bill of exchange, and I'll write the name of the parties to the bill of exchange. Okay, so say section 5. Okay, section 5, bills of exchange. There is a date and address. You can also have a stamp. Okay, now generally people do not have a stamp or something on a bill of exchange. Okay, I order Mr. A to pay Mr. B or his order a sum of rupees 1000 only. Okay, signed Mr. C. Okay, so what has happened over here? The maker is Mr. C. Okay, he is ordering Mr. A to pay Mr. B. So your B becomes the pay. Okay, a sum of money. So you're the drawer. Okay, the maker is Mr. C. He is the maker. Okay, here the drawee is Mr. A. He is the drawee. Okay, drawee is a person on whom the bill is drawn. Okay, bill is drawn on Mr. A's name. Okay, acceptor. Okay, now what happens here? Mr. A has again signed it. That means he is the acceptor. He is accepting this bill. Okay, so he is also an acceptor of the bill. He has to accept. Mr. B is the payee. Here Mr. B also becomes the holder. Okay, he also becomes a holder. Okay, and say suppose it is a bearer bill. Okay, it is a bearer bill. So then whoever holds it, okay, can go and demand the money. Okay, but let's not get into this bearer bill right now. Let us first understand. Okay, first understand this bill of exchange. Okay, according to your, see now, it has a date, it has an address, it is an order. I here is the signed person, Mr. C, maker. I order Mr. A. A is the drawee. Why? Because the bill is drawn on Mr. A to pay Mr. B a sum of rupees so and so only. So Mr. B is the payee. Okay, also he became the holder of this negotiable instrument, though it is signed by me. Okay, and it has been accepted by Mr. A. So whenever a bill of exchange, okay, in a bill of exchange, see this, there is Mr. Seller, there is Mr. Buyer. Okay, sells good on credit. Okay. Now since he is selling goods on credit, he issues bill, or he makes a bill of exchange. Okay, he will make it in 2 copies. Okay, 1 copy. If you all understand this, it's done. 1 copy he will give it to Mr. B, and 1 copy he will keep it to himself. Okay, he tells Mr. B that you have to accept the bill. So Mr. B accepts How he accepts and he signs it. Okay, so he got the goods on credit, he accepts and signs it. Now what happens if one copy is also with Mr. S, with the seller. Now seller has a creditor. Say Mr. A is the creditor. Okay, creditor of S. So S endorses to A. Okay, he endorsed this bill of exchange to A. So now A will have it, means he is writing on the bill of exchange. Say suppose this is the bill of exchange. Okay, over there he endorsed it, pay to Mr. A on his order. ये नीचे लिख दिया, and then again he signed it. पहले it was written pay to me. Okay, pay to Mr. S. Now he says that okay, Mr. A को ही payment कर दे, तो he has endorsed it in name of Mr. A. So Mr. A has the bill, so he is now become the holder in due course. He was the holder, he endorsed it, Mr. A has now become the holder in due course. Okay, now Mr. A further endorsed it to Mr. B. Why? Because B is the creditor of A. Okay, so it was endorsed again. Sum of rupees 1000. Now when the time came, Mr. B, sorry, not Mr. B, he endorsed it to Mr. A, endorsed it to C. Now when the time came, Mr. C went ahead. So now Mr. C is the holder in due course. Okay, he went ahead to take money from B. He showed the bill, let's see, this is the bill of exchange. You have accepted also, you have signed it. The time is come to make the payment, you have to make the payment to me. Mr. B defaults. Okay, he refuses to pay. So now what can Mr. C do? He will again go back. Okay, he will go back to Mr. A and demand the money. Okay, now say suppose A is dead. He died by the time he could go. He can also go until S and demand the money. So he, Mr. C being the holder in due course, has a right, okay, to sue in his own name all the previous party. All the previous party. Sue. Okay. Then obviously Mr. S can take it from Mr. B, so on and so forth. But also holder in due course has a right to sue Mr. B in his own name. Okay, because he is a holder in due course, he acquires better title than the transferor. Say suppose Mr. A ने चोरी करके bill of exchange Mr. C को दिया होता, but the holder in due course gets a better title. Okay, so here he can even sue Mr. B in his own name, and he can also sue all the previous parties. Okay, so this is how a bill of exchange basically works. Okay, so the one who makes the bill of exchange is known as the drawer. The bill on whom it is being made is known as the drawee. Okay. Then when it is endorsed, it is where we have an endorser and endorsee. So he is Mr. A's endorsee. Mr. S also becomes the endorser. Okay. Here in this case, pay became A. A was the pay. He again further endorsed it C and then went ahead and took money from B. Okay. The money can be made in cash or check or whatever. Again, check will become a negotiable instrument. Okay. So this is how a promissory note works. Okay. So also in a bill of exchange works. Okay. Now say, coming to the essentials. Okay, essentials of bill of exchange. Now based on this diagram itself, okay, we will understand all the essentials. First thing, Obviously this is in writing. Okay, there is an unconditional order to pay. There is no condition attached to it. Unconditional order. It is being signed by the maker also. It has been accepted by the person who has to pay. Parties are certain person. Okay. Also the sum payable is certain. Payable is certain. Okay. And stamped, dated, etc. with the address. Okay, so these are the essentials of a bill of exchange and the parties to the bill of exchange. Okay, now there are certain types, okay, which are there in bill of exchange. Types. Bill of exchange. Okay, let's see. The types are very easy. Very simple types are there. Firstly, we have a inland bill of exchange. Okay, not foreign but inland. Section 11 and section 12. 11 and section 12 talks about inland bill of exchange. What is an inland bill of exchange? If these two conditions are satisfied, then it will become an inland bill of exchange. First, drawn or made. One and the same thing. Drawn or made in India. Okay, basically drawn in India and payable in India. Okay. First is this condition. Condition number 1. It is drawn in India and made payable also in India. Second, it is drawn or made in India. Okay. And though it is payable outside India, but it is drawn upon a person who is resident of India. Okay. Now we will understand these two conditions. Okay. First condition, they say the bill is drawn in India and it is also made payable in India. If these two things are there in a given bill of exchange, it becomes an inland bill of exchange. Simple. Okay. Second thing is saying that it is drawn in India but it is made payable outside India. So then you will have to check that if it is payable outside India, then the person upon whom this bill is drawn, okay, the drawee is the resident of India, then again this will become inland bill of exchange. Okay, so this condition is important only. It has to be drawn in India. It has to be drawn in India, in both. You see, this condition is there. But here, and made payable in India, and here there is one big or. If this condition is not satisfied, go to the next condition and check. Drawn and made in India, okay. If it is payable outside India, whether it is drawn upon a resident of India, yes, then again it is a inland bill of exchange. Okay, say example. A bill drawn, say, in India, okay, and payable in USA upon a person resident in India. Okay, so this is nothing but an example of a inland bill of exchange. Okay, example. Next, example number 2. Okay, a bill is drawn in India and payable in India. upon a person resident of USA. Now, certain people get confused. They directly tell me that, okay, the answer is it is not an inland bill. But no. In fact, this bill fulfills our first condition. It is drawn in India and also payable in India. Immediately, I don't have to go only to the next condition. Drawn in India, payable in India, very much a inland bill of exchange. It is inland bill of exchange. Okay. So, types of bill of exchange, the first one is inland. Next is foreign bill of exchange. Okay. Simple, it has simple. Those not inland are foreign bill of exchange. Okay. Then sometimes the bills are made in sets. Okay, so you have bill in sets also. Bills in sets. They are made in sets of 2, 3. So say example 3 sets. Even in our example, I told you he makes 2 bills. Okay, so bills are made in sets. So it's known as bill in sets. Fourth, you have a trade bill. Trade bill is nothing but the example which we are working on. There is a seller and there is a buyer. Okay, we have to keep our example in mind. Okay, so here the seller draws the bill, of exchange on Mr. B. Okay, for 1000 rupees. So this is a trade bill. Okay, it is being made out of the trading relationship. Then you have an accommodation bill. Okay, accommodation bills are nothing but they are just, they are like kind of a fake bills. Okay, they are just made for the purpose of, taking, say suppose you just make, there are between two friends. Okay, they make a bill between themselves in order to take a loan from bank or a credit from bank. Okay, so accommodation bills are nothing but they are just made, okay, for purpose of taking any benefits, tax benefits, etc. And the last one is a bank draft. Okay, bank draft, it is a bill of exchange drawn upon whom? Upon a bank. Okay, the draft which we make, no DD, demand draft. So bank draft is also nothing but it is a type of a bill of exchange, but it is drawn upon a bank. Okay, so these are the types of bill of exchange. Okay, now coming to certain other important provisions, okay, in bill of exchange. 1, there is a drawee in case of need. Okay, now what does this mean? Drawee in case of need. Okay, here this drawee, now we all know what is a drawee and what is a drawer. Okay, let's take our example only. Here in our example Mr. S was the drawer, and Mr. B, who is the buyer, is the drawee. Also he is the acceptor. Okay, so drawee in case of need means it is introduced, he is that person, he is that drawee who is introduced at the option of drawer. Okay, in case when a bill is dishonored, then resort can be made to such drawee. Okay, so he is one more person, okay, whose name is added, okay, on the bill of exchange. That is used, say suppose when Mr. B, okay, in our example, okay, where Mr. B had defaulted, okay, default, or there is a dishonor, okay, by this particular drawee, then the other drawee which is being introduced in that bill at the option of the the drawer has an option whether he wants to introduce or no. He has full trust on Mr. B, no problem then. But say suppose there is a issue of trust, okay, there is some problem, then Mr. S or Mr. B has also told him that see, I have another person, you can put his name also in the bill of exchange. So if there is a default, so and so person will pay you. So say Mr. PQR, okay, he is a drawee in case of need, so his name is also put up. So if there is a dishonor, then resort can be made. Directly you can approach Mr. PQR that see, there is a dishonor made by this payee, you are supposed to, this particular drawee or the acceptor, you are supposed to make the payment, okay. And with that we have this concept which is known as acceptor for honor, okay. This is the person who accepts the bill, when refused by original drawee to safeguard the honor of drawer or any other endorser Now what does this mean? See, this both things work side by side. Okay, let's take up this example. Apna S, Mr. Seller, he sold goods to Mr. B, buyer. Now when he sold goods, he did not know Mr. B. So, but Mr. B and Mr. S, they both know this PQR. Okay, they both know this PQR, Mr. PQR. Okay. So, Mr. PQR told Mr. S, Arey, no, you sell goods to Mr. B. He is a good person. I have been dealing with him since many years. Okay. And he also tells Mr. B, Arey, tu Mr. S se kyun buy nahi karte? Okay. So, basically, he is also in good terms with Mr. S. He is also in good terms with Mr. B. So, here S is selling the goods. He sold goods. Okay, but then also he is still reluctant about the payment. So Mr. PQR, he says that okay, what I will do, you make the bill in the name of Mr. B, but even I will accept the bill. Accepting. Okay, any bill of exchange, it is important for a bill of exchange to be accepted. Okay, the person who is going to make the payment, he has to accept the bill. Okay, he has to sign and give one copy back to the seller. So here Mr. PQR also accepts it for the honor. Accepts it for honor means what? That if in case there is, the bill is refused by the original drawee, okay, or so here if it is been refused, since he has accepted the bill, he can go ahead and approach Mr. PQR for the payment. Okay, so here Mr. B is the original, or he is the actual drawee. However, Mr. PQR also had accepted this bill for honor so that he can safeguard the interest of the actual drawer or any other endorser. Say if it was endorsed, so any other endorser. So acceptor for honor and the drawee in case of need. If you see, both the things work in like same thing. Okay, it is here to safeguard the interest of the payee if in case the bill has been dishonored. Alright, so this is about the bills of exchange, the types and the provisions which are contained in the bill of exchange. Okay, now let's quickly move to our notes. I will just take you all to the importance of what you all have to actually go ahead and do in the chapter. Alright, so just take up your notes and take the markings done. Okay, the negotiable instrument. Okay, it is here, it is the definition. Okay, what is a negotiable instrument? Okay, the definition also is given here. We have already done that. Coming to effects of negotiability. Okay, directly come here, effects of negotiability. You have to just read this. Now, important characteristics of a negotiable instrument. Classification of negotiable instrument. It can be a bearer. Okay, whoever has the instrument becomes the bearer. We can have an order instruments in whose name is written order. Inland, we did foreign, demand, payable on demand, payable on time. Ambiguous and inchoate instruments, I will do this later. So you have these types of instruments over here, so we complete that also. Kinds of negotiable instruments, very important. Okay, first one is a promissory note. So you have the meaning of promissory note, then the parties to the promissory note, essentials of the promissory note. This is how you are going to study the chapter. Then next is the bill of exchange, section 5. So the meaning, we have the parties to the bill of exchange, and then we have the essentials to the bill of exchange. Now this distinguish between bill of exchange and promissory note and check, bill of exchange and check, that is a favorite question of institute as well. Okay, so this is again very important. Okay, so you are going to do the distinguish between bill of exchange and promissory note. Now this is the types of bill of exchange. We just did inland. Okay, so there is an inland bill of exchange. We have foreign bill of exchange. Third, trade bills. Fourth is accommodation bill. Okay, bills in sets. Okay, duplicate bills, obviously we can have a duplicate bill. And then lastly it is, so we have bills in set, right to duplicate bill, and the bank draft. Okay, so these are the types of bill of exchange, and there is a specimen of a bank draft. This is only for your reference and it's only for your reading. Alright. So in my next lecture, I am going to continue with checks and all the provisions regarding with checks. And also the last part will be of this chapter will be all the miscellaneous things which are attached to this particular Negotiable Instruments Act. Okay. Thank you so much everyone.